Oi, oi, hello and welcome to another GG.CO.UK video, kindly sponsored by Boyle Sports. This time we're going stateside. It's the Breeders' Cup coming up on the 1st of November and the 2nd of November. There are 14 races across those 2 days. Friday is Future Stars Friday. There's 5 juvenile races starting at 9:45 p.m. UK time. Saturday, there's a 9-race card starting at 7 p.m. Now, all the races you can see on Racing TV. ITV, so for terrestrial TV, will be showing 3 races of the Saturday where you can see the Breeders' Cup Classic, where City of Troy, the big talking horse of this season, is going to be running in his last race before he goes off to stud. I think there's quite a bit of interest in the Breeders' Cup this year, so we thought this would be relevant. And if you are, like me, going to be enjoying the racing on TV but don't really follow it too much, then these cheat sheets that I've put together are probably going to be more powerful than anything I've done so far this season for the flat. Now, we'll have to see how informative they are when they come out. Trends tend to be easier to find if everything stays the same. Obviously, we get different runners each year, but the Breeders' Cup is actually run at a different track every year. They do cycle it, so it does come back. It's at Del Mar this season, and it's been at Del Mar twice in the last decade. So there are some draw relevant status that goes into these trends, but I have looked at the track this season, and I've looked at the track for a longer period for different distances and types of grade races to see if those things are relevant. There are some facts just for American racing that are relevant to do with draw over distance and field size. So that there's a whole plethora of information that's different for stateside racing as it is over here. So I don't want to bore you with all of that. Just going to tell you in this video the essentials. A link in the description where there'll be 2 links. There'll be one for Friday, for those Future Star Friday, and one for the Saturday. So you can click those. I think they're going to be very helpful that if you are going to watch it, of course, we don't have to bet to enjoy the racing, but if you do decide that you might want to have a flutter in 1 or 2 races, then these will point you in the right direction, I believe. There are some real key trial races for a lot of the races that the Americans farm and we won't have winners in. And I guess our knowledge of those races, much easier with the flat and the jumps. We follow through the season. We know who's won X, Y, and Z race. With the American racing, you may not know that. So I've included a few results in there as well. So basically, if a race is a big pointer to a Breeders' Cup race, I've put the result in there and I've told you who should be the key horses or the key horse from that. Now, there are some proper races in here. What City of Troy are trying to do is, I think John Gosden might be the only British trainer that's won the Breeders' Cup Classic, so that's the dirt race. A lot of the horses that win that have raced exclusively on the all-weather. Ravens Pass won this in 2008 for John Gosden and Frankie Dettori. He hadn't raced at the trip, the 1 mile 2 furlong, but at least City of Troy has done that. Very impressive in that Juddmonte, obviously a Derby winner. And then you look at what Calandagan did at Ascot today. You'd say some people might think a bit of an unlucky loser because of his passage, but you know, the horses that won it and Matt didn't have the best ride through either, but at least it adds some depth to that Juddmonte. Not that we needed to question that at all because he broke the course record at York that day. So, of course, there's a lot of hype and talk about him, but it is a race that, you know, does seem to go to the Americans. I'm not saying that will happen this year, but there are other opportunities for the Brits and Irish to go and do well in there. So let's run through a few of those results, which I can do now. As I say, the link in the descriptions for both cheat sheets. If you just want to go and grab that, do that. Obviously, they're chucked out there for free, so it would just be kind of you if you could just like the video, make sure you subscribed and drop a comment below, either with what you fancy for the Breeders' Cup or just a thank you. Now, Friday, the Future Stars, said that quite a few times now. The Juvenile Turf's the big one. That's over a mile where Charlie Appleby and Aidan O'Brien have been flying the flag for us on this side of the sea. Unquestionable in 2023 and Victoria Road, both for Ryan Moore, Aidan O'Brien. Modern Games, Line of Duty for Buick and Charlie Appleby a couple of years before that, well, 2021 and 2018. Mendelssohn won at Del Mar in 2017 for Aidan O'Brien and Ryan Moore, and Keeneland in 2015 hit it a bomb for Ryan Moore and Aidan O'Brien. So look, that's a race where the Brits are going to be sending some horses over there. They'll be sending some fancy ones, but we did have the Turf Sprint winner last couple of years. Big Evs went over there for Mick Appleby, didn't he? And Mischief Magic won it for Charlie Appleby the year before. So few chances on the Friday, a few races. We even had Meditate that won the Juvenile Fillies Turf for O'Brien and Moore last year. Now, on the Saturday, the Breeders' Cup Turf, the Filly and Mare and the Mile Turf are the few races that the Brits seem to send some big guns to and seem to do all right in. We have won the Turf Sprint with Glass Slippers in 2020, but when we look at the Turf, the 1.5 miler, which potentially could have been an option for City of Troy, but obviously they're seeing him as the classic type horse, the 1 mile 2 furlong, the 10 furlong distance is what they're looking to suit him. August Rodin won the turf last year. Rebels Romance won it the year before. Yabir won the race as well. Tanawa, Enable, Hyden Real, Found. So there is a decent list of horses to go and win the turf. The Fillion Mare Turf, Inspiral won that last year for the Gosdens and Frankie Dettori. Tuesday won it the year before for Ryan Moore and Aidan O'Brien. And we've had a good few winners in there as well. James Fanshawe, Joseph O'Brien's won the race, and even Sir Michael Stout of Queen's Trust. So again, it's another race that we're potentially going to send some good horses over to. We'll see how that comes out. That's another one that's run over sort of varying distances. It's this year at the Del Mar, it will be run at 11 furlongs. So, 1 mile and 11 furlongs. So it's a race that's sort of in between a little bit of a trip, isn't it? You get the 10 furlong races, which are the 1 mile 2, and you get the 12 furlong races, which are the 1.5 mile, your Oaksy types one. So it's a little bit in between there, which does suit some certain types of horses. It's gone all the way down to 9 furlongs before in the past for this race, which is the reason why I was bringing up the distance. But we are where we are for this year. The mile turf, we had Master of the Seas win it for William Buick, Charlie Appleby in 2023. The year before, Modern Games, William Buick, Charlie Appleby. And guess what? Space Blues won it for William Buick and Charlie Appleby. Godolphin. Order Australia won it before for Aidan O'Brien and Expert Eye won it in 2018 for Sir Michael Stout. So look, those would be the types of races I think the Brits are going to have a big feature in. That's not to say it's exclusive or it's an exhaustive list, that they will be the only races that pop in there. But I've chucked in the bits that could potentially be relevant in those cheat sheets, as I say. It's going to be fascinating to see what happens over there. I'm not a massive follower of the American race, and I'd suspect a lot of you guys aren't as well. But it is nice to enjoy and appreciate the experience that's going on there. As I say, ITV are doing well to get the free races. They weren't actually going to be showing any of the racing. They have in the past shown a lot more of it, but at least it's still there for terrestrial viewers. Obviously on Twitter, you can catch up with race replays not so long after the events either. So they'll be flashed about a few minutes after. So if you can't get to watch all the racing, but you do want to be involved, that's a nice little social experience and a nice social environment that you can be in to enjoy the Breeders' Cup too. So, yeah, I think that probably covers all that needs to be said in this video. The cheat sheets are below. Like I said, I don't want to run through every race because there's 14 of them. And there is sort of caveats and bits that go with each, a lot of those races. I say each of the races, there is, but some of the races are more prevalent than others. So it's easier to look at the cheat sheets themselves. We're going to be doing these throughout the season. You've seen that the ARC one was pretty popular. We've been doing it for Champions Day. We've done it for lots of other meetings as well. So Melbourne Cup will be coming up soon. I'm going to tell you what it's going to take to win that race. See if we can find out if Vauban can do it this year round. There'll be plenty more coming up because we've got the jumps just round the corner. But as it stands for now, the Breeders' Cup's going to be a big couple of days over there, all building up to seeing if City of Troy can add his name to, I want to say, an illustrious list. It is. It's an incredible list of horses that have done it, but there's not very many horses that Aidan O'Brien's trained that have been even worthy of being sent to the race or expected to go and do big things. So look, there is a lot of weight on his shoulders. I believe the big boy can go and do this. Fingers crossed you guys do too. But whatever happens, there's going to be a lot of great racing to enjoy. And as I say, as it's a sphere that we probably don't follow as much as... well, definitely not as much as we do with the British and the Irish racing. It would be nice to enjoy it. I've done these handy cheat sheets to give you that little bit of an extra in so you don't feel as alienated for the couple of days. And fingers crossed it might point us to a couple of winners if you do decide to have a bet. Of course, gamble responsibly. Make sure you like the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and we will see you again very soon.